Hey, what's up, everybody? Jasper Gonzo here. Another What's Next. Happy Wednesday. Off from work, my day job. So my videos are coming out a little bit later than I would normally do. But in this one, we're going to do something a little bit different. Normally, I do talk about politics, pop culture. Of course, now it's so blended in, you can't separate one from the other. But when it comes to this particular person, he sees it through a prism of history, U.S. history, world history. He is renowned in his own right. In my opinion, he is up there with Thomas Sowell, Walt Williams, and also Milton Friedman. He is Professor Victor Davis Hanson. And you may or may not know the name. He makes most of his appearances on the lecture circuit and also regarding colleges, but mostly and most famously from Tucker Carlson. We're going to take a look at him and how he sees things regarding how America, the road that America is traveling down, and those that are hell-bent on destroying it. Let's take a look. This comes out of Breitbart. Exclusive. Victor David Hanson. Elites are destroying America with globalism, leftism, and tribalism. Breitbart editor-in-chief, Alex Marlow sat down with historian and professor Victor Davis Hanson at his latter home in Selma, California, for a wide-ranging interview examining how America is being undermined by a modern globalist autocracy. Hanson drew from analysis from his latest book, The Dying Citizen, How Progressive Elites, Tribalism, Globalism are Destroying the Idea of America. Hanson warned of lessening governmental accountability to citizens via the dissolution of American citizenship. The concept of citizenship, he added, is an essential component of Western civilization. Quote, the citizen is very rare, he said. Civilization is very old, 7,000 years old, but nearly for the first 4,500 years, there were no citizens. There were slaves, subjects, tribes, residents. He continued, citizenship is the idea that you would have people who live in a confined space that would govern themselves. They would elect the officials. They would audit themselves. They would set up budgets, expenditures. They would decide when to go to war, have peace, responsibility. He explained the idea of citizenship is integrated with property rights, he remarked. Most importantly, seems to have started in the 8th century on the principle of inheritance. When you planted olive trees or vines in your small plot and you owned them, the state didn't own them, and you had the right to pass them on without interference from the state. Like the American Constitution, the protection of property was very important. He observed how architects of the globalist enterprise cultivated ethnic and racial agitation to create perceptions of grievance and victimhood among targeted demographic groups. He noted that upward mobility, rooted in meritocracy, threatens the leftist paradigm of a zero-sum struggle between haves and the have-nots. Neo-Marxist ideology, substitution of racial struggle for the class warfare framed, creates a paradigm of permanent strife between races and framing whites as oppressors and non-whites he shared. He noted how such a framework, rebranded as critical race theory, yes, critical racist theory, allows for the inclusion of black elites like Oprah Winfrey, LeBron James as members of a supposed oppressed cohort. Leftists has always been equality of result people, he said. They want a bigger government, more government employees to make sure that on the back end, we end up equally. We're all going to be poor, but we're equal. That's far better than all of us being better off, but having unequal. They've always been that way. They've never been successful, he continued. California, the United States, these were upperly mobile societies. Then they brought in the bankrupt European idea of critical theory, critical legal theory, critical race theory. It was basically an attack on establishment that said that all rules were socially constructed for the protection that originally was a Marxist idea of elites, oppressive insects that sucked out the blood of the proletariat. And they did. That didn't work. Excuse me. Hanson credited former President Barack Obama with amplifying the impact of left-wing racial grievance mongering. If you look at upward mobility among Latinos, Asians, African Americans, it's going up, he said. So they thought, we're going to lose the victim vote. There's not going to be a victim vote. There are 17 ethnic minorities that make up more per capita than so-called white people, Punjabis, Koreans. They came up with the idea of diversity. He added, leftists said, if you are non-white, you are diverse, and therefore, you, no matter what your income, you're oppressed. It was a perfect matrix, the perfect paradigm for them. They said anybody who could be wealthy was forever a victim, because unlike class, if your new home burned down, if your tech job evaporated, if you can go down in class and be exploited, but if you're not Oprah, Meghan Markle, LeBron James, not if you're the Obamas, you're always oppressed. Now, let's hear it from the man himself.
Is globalism, and this has been a constant conversation. It was considered a swear word probably 6 or 8 years ago, like it was some sort of a smear. I think now people are understanding it. They're understanding the concept. And what is the goal of the globalists? Is it to dilute the concept of America or just the nation state in general? Is it to destroy America? Well, what are the globalists really
about? Globalists are Westerners. Remember that. They're all Westerners, or they're Westernized. And they're very elite. I'm talking about Klaus Schwab and the Davos, the Great Reset, the UN Commissioner. In the United States in particular, it was the bi-coastal elite who made out like bandits under an 8 billion new market of consumers. These were media, the entertainment, athletes, law, academics, not guys that could be outsourced, not these little farmers around here that suddenly found the price of grapes go down because they were bringing them in from Chile, or not the lathe worker, or not the welder, or not, the lumberjack when they were bringing in cheap lumber. So it was an elite, and they said, we are so wealthy, and these guys didn't learn coding. They didn't learn how to code. They didn't send their kid to Stanford. They're losers.
Right.
And then they made the next step and said, well, since we're so rich, it was because we're so good. And these people are so poor because they're so bad. They take opiates. And they drove the jobs out because they were, gap-toothed opiate people. So what happened was it destroyed the unity of the United States, and we created two classes, and the bi-coastal people became fabulously wealthy. And they confused that with their own morality. And the people in the interior who had skills that were very important, we go in this kitchen right here and we're going to like that counter. We want that refrigerator. Somebody made it. Just as important as teaching Latin or Greek, or more important. Somebody out here can get those almonds off the tree into your almond butter, your almond soap, your almond oil, your candy bar. And somehow he's as important, we should remember that, as we are. But that's not what the left said, ironically. And so that was what globalization was. It was the reward of the winners. And then they said, well, the next step is, just as we harmonize the world economy, now the culture is harmonized. And we can do it in a way the League of Nations or the progressive movement or the old Greek idea of cosmopolitanism, citizens of the cosmos, they didn't have technology. We have cell phones. We have dish TV. We have the internet. We're a global village. I go to Greece. I go to Italy. I go to Africa. They have T-shirts. They wear University of California sweatshirts. We're all one. Then they said, step 3, and therefore we're going to have a world government. And we're going to get a bunch of, and Klaus Schwab said that, and John Kerry basically says that, and Al Gore says that, and Obama said he was a citizen of the world. And what they meant was that the elite will get together like platonic guardians, and they'll say, you all have your deplorables, and they don't know anything about diversity and equity and inclusion. They have this new idea of capitalism, that it's shareholder capitalism or stakeholder capitalism,
that's right.
And they have this idea of a climate change agenda. And they can't get it through a democratic system. So They want to, from the top down, by fiat. And COVID was just beautiful. That's why Klaus Schwab wrote a book, COVID-19 and the Great Reset. They loved it. So we're going to use this emergency that's never let a crisis go to waste, and we're going to push down this elite agenda. And they had a couple of problems with it. I should say one problem, and that was called 1.4 billion people in China, because China was a polluter. China was racist. China had people in work camps. China harvested organs, and they said, "Uh-oh, we're all getting rich with China. The NFL is China. Wall Street is China. Corporate board is China. Hollywood is China. Let's give them an exemption."
Yes.
And so we're going to exempt them. And we don't want to hear Dr. Fauci, he may have given $600,000 to the Virology 4 lab, or Mark Milley may call his Chinese counterpart, but let's just give them a pass.
But why do
My thoughts. There's more to the interview. It's about an hour 45, as I said. It is on Breitbart. So if you want to learn more about Professor Hanson, I would suggest that you go there, or you can just go on YouTube and just type in his name, Victor Davis Hanson, and pull up a number of interviews that he's done over the years in regards to U.S. history, world history, globalism, and how it affects us, America, in particular. But he's right. The fact of the matter is that when you have this victimhood mentality that is perpetrated and that is pushed constantly by the left wing, and you're not a victim, you're not oppressed. Oprah Winfrey, LeBron James, Barack Obama, a number of those in Hollywood, a number of those in the NFL. I'm oppressed, this, that, and the other, the white man, and blah, 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 blah. It's all bullshit. At the end of the day, it's all bullshit. Because if you're sitting there in a 30,000 square foot home, 25, 30 acres, you have your own network, or say you have your own, you have your own brand, and you're trending on Twitter, what are you bitching about? Really, what do you have to bitch about? If you're LeBron James, what are you bitching about? If you're Barack Obama, what are you bitching about? You bitch to bitch. Because that's your mentality. Because that is how the media set you up to be. You should be mad at the media. You want to run around saying I'm oppressed and be mad at the media. They're the ones who propped you up for it. It's not us. We're the ones telling you you're not. We're the ones that are telling you you're acting like an ass clown because you think you're oppressed. You think you're a victim. You think that the white man's always holding you down. Again, it's bullshit. But Professor Hanson wouldn't have said those things that I just said. Like I said, the man is too much of an intellect, too much a critical thinker to, use those type of expletives. Who knows? I mean, hey, when the camera's off, he may be dropping F-bombs like they're going out of style, but I don't think so. But like I said, he's a very smart man, very common sense man, and check him out sometime. With that being said, I'm Jazz Bargonzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more just like this? Please leave a comment below, like it, share it, subscribe to it, and we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.